My friends, I had a pretty good weekend. Got out and found a few adult Easter eggs. If you don't know what that is, I'll tell you about that. And I also made some pretty good progress on the taxes. Keep in mind, they're not due till tomorrow, so what's the rush? We'll get to all that right after this. Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. It is Monday, April 17th, and yes, I did spend a little bit of time this weekend working on my taxes. It didn't take as long as I thought. I really only devoted a few hours to it, to be honest. It ain't good. Anytime you got to pay a lot of money, it ain't good, and it's a lot of money. It's more than I paid for my first several cars. As a young man, cars were a whole lot cheaper back then, and I can't believe I'm just throwing out that much money just to pay Uncle Sam. It's just sad deal. You know, if you thought you were really getting something for your money, it'd be one thing, and I guess we are when you think of our roads and all that stuff, but a whole lot of it just goes to the wrong place, you know? We all know where that is. It goes in some greedy person's pocket, about half of it, and that's the truth. We can't do anything about that. We just have to smile and pay it. That's the price we pay for living in a free country. But I did have some actual fun over the weekend. I did go out and find some of the adult Easter eggs. So here's some footage on that. Quite honestly, it's been a tough mushroom year. But I always look for these dead elm trees. And that's a good indication of where you'll find mushrooms if you're going to find them. And look what I just found. I just found this one as I turned the camera on. I literally did not see this till after the camera was on. Can you see it? Sure enough, now there's one, but the one I found this other one earlier, and I didn't know about this one before I turned the camera on. That's why I turned it on. But the other one I didn't know about. Can you see it? Yeah, there it is. So there's two. That's not bad. We'll have to look around here because there could be more. There's another one around the base of this tree. Do you see it? I'm also scanning for more, but right now I'm pointing you at the base of this tree because there's a mushroom right there. Now do you see it? Getting pretty darn windy out here. But I just walked around this tree, this another elm tree, and spied that on the ground right there. Do you see it? Now do you see it? Well, that's the valley where I found my first four. In fact, the first two were found right around this tree. The other two were found out there quite a ways. And here's what they look like. The first two are on the left, the second two are on the right. Well, I've covered a lot of ground since the last video, and I'm just walking through an area that I know has mushrooms occasionally, and here's one just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Do you see it? It's not really close to a tree or anything. That's why I say they will kind of grow just about anywhere. There it is, right in the middle of your screen. Well, I'm in a different part of the farm, and I have found mushrooms in this area before. And sure enough, there's one right here in front of us. Do you see it? Not easy to see. Can you see it yet? There it is, right there in the middle of the screen. That's the kind of thing you're looking for, and it's not easy to find. Well, here's the biggest one of the day so far, or even of the year so far. Do you see it? Pretty much in the center of the screen. Let's see if we can get closer. Now, this is a big one here. That's a real big one compared to, there's the size of my finger. You can see it's a pretty big one. here's one right here. We'll pick that one. Well, I just picked that one here, and I looked across, and again, I'm not sure it's the one I saw before, but there's another one right here. So, you see it yet? It's a hard one to see. There it is in the middle of your screen. Well, I'm obviously in a hot spot because I see one way over there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Pretty far over there. And then there I see that one. And I see one up here by this big vine off to the right. And I think I saw another one up there. I'm pretty sure I did. Oh, here's one over here on the ground. And I think I see another one. That one there looks like it's broken off, laying on the ground sideways. Well, there's three right now I can spy from just standing right here. So I'm gonna make my way to those and pick those. Well, I still didn't make it up there to those other two or so up there. I came over and picked the one that was right here, and I looked around, and sure enough, there's another one right down here closer to the creek. And this one looks like it's darker, but it's another morel. It's a big one. These are some big mushrooms over here. Wow, he's a big one. So I cut the stalk off just about level with the ground. He's a big one. Well, I told you there was one by this big old vine, and sure enough, there it is. And I'm standing right here, and I look up here, and here's one that's broke off, and one right behind it. Do you see the little one behind it? So there's three right here. I see another one laying down right over there. And I think there's another one over there too I remember seeing, so I gotta look for that when I get over there. Oh, there's one way over there further. So there's two more over here. I am in a hot spot for sure. Well, I thought I found most of them, and I was making my way back to the ranger and looked down in my trail that I'm walking in. Now, this is not the trail I walked going in, but here's another one right here on the way out. So I'll spend a little time looking close here in case I see more. Well, here you go, my friends. 18 mushrooms. That's the total haul. Those top rows, some pretty big ones up there, and then some decent sized ones and a little bit smaller, but even these little small ones are pretty big. Those are all good sized mushrooms. So I found 18. My wife's already cut hers in half and put them in a bowl, the one she found, and she found about a half dozen, I guess. Something like that. But she had found a half dozen before, so she's found around 12, and I found 18. And these are the only 18 I found this year so far. So at least we know they're out there now. The morel mushrooms grow fairly abundantly here on the farm. I usually find in the neighborhood of 100 each year. This year's been pretty scant. The ones you see in that video, that's all I found. I'm gonna have to get out there and get busy and do some more looking. I did make a little bit more progress on my sawmill. If you've seen my prior videos, you saw that I made that one wheel removable, but it was too tight. And so I loosened that up and got that working better. I also did some more tweaks to the tensioning of the blade and the tilt of that wheel so that the blade tracks better. So I did some more adjustments there, and that seems to be working out pretty well. I've got a new blade installed, though that's a little premature because I have not reduced the height yet, and I am going to reduce the height. I'm going to reduce it probably around 18 inches, and that's a pretty good amount, 1.5 feet. That will, I think, stabilize it some and get rid of some of the wiggle waggle. At least I think it will. And anyway, we just don't need it to be that tall that being that tall, when you're pulling it around on the farm, it makes it rock even more. I think reducing the height will make it more stable when I'm pulling it around on a trailer. So there's just a lot of reasons to reduce that height. And I think it's going to be a better sawmill because of it once I get that reduced. My next plans are to go out and cut a bunch of cedar and then saw that cedar into lumber that I can use for projects here on the farm during my hiatus. Although it really won't be dried, we can maybe expedite some of the drying by putting it in the greenhouse and covering it and putting a fan on it. It may not be real dry, but I think it'll be dry enough for the purposes that I have planned. That's going to be about it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow.